Hi everyone, Justin Goldston here. And in this interview, we have Umar. Umar, can you introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do in the space?
Hi, Justin. My name is Umar Sebyala. I work as the ecosystem lead at the Celo Foundation for Uganda, and I basically oversee the adoption of the Celo blockchain within Uganda and the wider East African ecosystem, working with the Celo Foundation.
Excellent. So can you kind of expand on what you all do in terms of education, in terms of what you do in Africa, and what kind of adoption are you getting from people there?
Okay. Yeah, so Celo, to take it from the top, Celo is a blockchain protocol that is on a mission to build a financial system that creates the conditions for prosperity for everyone. Against this backdrop, we're trying to have a global reach that can be able to scale the adoption of Celo across Africa and any other continent that needs to have a financial system that actually does work. So there is great reception for anything that is able to promise a future that has prosperity, and this is what we're seeing across the African ecosystem. So I've been in the role since April of 2020. And this is how I've actually got plugged into the blockchain ecosystem through the Celo ecosystem. So we're seeing a hunger for folks to be able to have a way out of their current circumstances, because you find that there's some common themes across Africa in that systems are broken and people feel that they're not actually living their best lives. So crypto provides a way that folks can be able to change their circumstances and be able to get more out of finances and money in general than they can be able to get with the traditional systems of finance and trade. So in terms of adoption, we're seeing steady adoption across the continent. We have seen communities being bootstrapped across various countries in Africa from the Northeast, West and South. And we've had a host of initiatives that have launched with various partners under initiatives such as the Celo Alliance for Prosperity, whereby we have in-country partners that bring their core competencies to the fold to kind of activate the next billion users on Celo. So yeah, it's a grassroots approach that we're trying to take, and we're seeing positive returns, and we're trying to also kind of capitalize on that and be able to scale that out with our efforts going forward.
Okay, so you mentioned partners. What type of partnerships do you have over there?
Yeah, so under the Celo Alliance for Prosperity, we have a host of organizations that come in from different backgrounds, from education to telecommunications to finance, remittances, and a host of other entities. And as last I checked, it was around 160 plus organizations from all over the world. And a host of those are also from Africa, and we kind of leverage their communities to be able to spread the mission of Celo and adoption of blockchain technologies within that. So additionally, we also do have various in-country partners who may not be under the Celo Alliance for Prosperity, folks who simply have infrastructure that they can be able to ride on, maybe to provide cash in, cash out for Celo stablecoins into various fiat currencies across various African countries. So yeah, like I said, it's a grassroots movement that is being backed up by various organizations across the continent and globally as well.
Very interesting. So given that, so we're actually doing some research with the Stellar Foundation in terms of financial literacy, right? Now, based on your experience, how do you think educating people, not just in Africa, just in general, how do you think educating people on blockchain, on digital assets, don't call them cryptocurrencies, on digital assets can lead to increased financial literacy?
Yeah, well, so from personal experience and someone who has been in the space for a little over 5 years now, I know that everything starts with education, whether it's educating developers or educating folks in the street. If folks don't know what they're using, what they're doing, they really are moving blind. So education being the foundation of everything that we're doing, we're able to actually get further by having folks understanding exactly what we are bringing to the fold. So financial education and financial literacy is not any different, because as we know that folks really do handle finances on a daily basis, but then you find that the amount of people who actually understand how their money actually works is quite minimal. So financial literacy, financial education, and education about things that folks use in their daily lives, such as money, which is basically one of the most common languages that folks use, but it's really misunderstood. It's something that has proved to be very fundamental in as far as adoption of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology goes. So education is the cornerstone of everything that we do, and we try to kind of have an educational piece with every single bit of outreach that we do. So that has really been very critical in as far as having any traction on the ground goes. So education is something that you cannot replace, and I believe it is where everything starts on a global macro level.
Excellent. I think we share similar thoughts and approaches with that. So, given that from a selfish perspective, so I'm learning from you. I'm learning a lot here. So what is your approach in educating people within this space?
Yeah, so we have a host of initiatives that we've been able to leverage because I actually got in here when COVID had hit. So when COVID hit, we didn't have in-person meetings, which was really hard to get folks online, because Africa in general is a continent that has limitations and constrictions with internet access. So not everyone is going to be able to tune into a live stream. Not everyone's going to be able to download data, because we're not really we're not doing that well when it comes to connectivity. So there was really a bottleneck in as far as outreach, but we're trying to, initially we kind of had a virtual approach whereby folks would be able to connect. We're able to plug into we had like weekly calls that were able to bring guest speakers on board and talk about various initiatives that were happening, and also various sectors of crypto that they would be able to explain more to the audience. But luckily, once the pandemic kind of receded, we're able to go back to in-person meetings, which have really helped us move the needle in that folks really do have a hunger to understand. And if you can be able to have a recurrent event that can be marked on a calendar, whereby folks can come together in a community setting and be able to ask questions in real time, and in person, they can be able to really learn more, and they've been able to get a deep understanding of crypto in general. Because to take it from the top, cryptocurrency is really a branch of distributed ledger technology, which is also a branch of computer science. This is not layman speak. So even to the folks that are experts in the space, they really do need to sit down and get this done. But how are you able to reach out to these folks without having kind of a common forum that you can be able to talk to them? So for the case of Africa, we're really using meetups and events such as conferences to be able to raise awareness and be able to make this in-person connections, and people can be able to ask questions, and they can really put a face to what crypto is. And we've seen that over the past couple of months, this has really snowballed into a host of communities that have really come up and have really been activated across various countries within Africa. So it's really critical to have in-person meetups and meetings of this sort, in addition to virtual mediums. Folks can be able to record a podcast, can be able to go and have a live stream in a studio. That is also being consumed, but not as much as in-person events, because folks can be able to make time to go and attend maybe a end of month meetup at maybe a restaurant in town. There's good food, there's coffee, and we're going to talk about crypto. Because for the case of Celo, within the whole of 2022, we had the Celo Happy Hour, which was a monthly event that really crowned all of the achievements that we've been able to achieve within a given month in Kampala. So the team was able to come every last Friday at the Innovation Village, which is kind of a fintech hub within Kampala. And we were able to talk about what the chain is doing, what products are being shipped in the space, and folks were able to ask questions in real time and be able to even contribute to that. So it kind of fostered a community that was growing organically, and we're able to actually get high levels of financial literacy and also literacy about blockchain and crypto in general. So that's kind of how we've been able to do it.
All right. So okay. So in terms of, how does the developer community look in Africa? One thing I'm also been curious about.
Yeah, from where I actually stand, I see that they are really gifted and very vibrant individuals. They're really bridging over from the Web2 space, the conventional space, to also apply their skills into the Web3 blockchain space. There's an organic move because I don't know if it's because they see that the hours are paid better or that there is more demand or it's more fulfilling work to be kind of a blockchain dev as opposed to someone who's just running a backend at a Web2 farm. So, but we see that there is this organic traction and this organic interest in the space that is coming in from our local developers, because we host developer monthly meetup events. Yeah, this was like through the whole of last year and also some within this year, but you do see that the folks are actually growing in number. So you will see that folks who are fresh out of the university, even folks who are already working with various organizations, are able to come through, polish up on their skills, and there's this general interest in getting plugged into the Web3 space. So there is organic talent, there's organic interest in this, and also trying to leverage these, I would say, these waves of new energy that are coming on board. So yeah, the developer ecosystem is very vibrant and it's ready to be plugged into Web3.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that. So is there anything else that you wanted to add? Anything that would be beneficial for the viewers to know about the work you're doing?
Yeah, so Celo in general we're on a mission to build a financial system that creates the conditions of prosperity for everyone. And as our guiding North Star, we're trying to have this embedded in being the home of regenerative finance, basically finance that has positive externalities, whereby you are using money in a organically good way that is good for the environment. So whether you're going to have carbon credits in there, whether you're going to have green finance in there organically and not simply something that is added on, but it's part of the actual money system. That is something that we are trying to work hard to make a reality. So that Celo is the home of ReFi, which is short for regenerative finance. That is going to be the bulk of our work for this year and the foreseeable future. And we call on anyone who wants to have money that is good for the planet to take a good look at Celo and be able to kind of get curious around what we're trying to do. So yeah.
Excellent. So what has been the response? I know I said that seemed to be my last question, but now you've prompted additional questions. So what has been the response in terms of ReFi and in terms of educating people on ReFi, because that's another concept that has grown over the last year or so.
Yeah, true. So what we have seen is that folks were really looking at this as two separate verticals, whereby they're looking at positive climate action as one thing and kind of having a financial system that works as another thing. But ReFi kind of bridges these two verticals into making them like the same entity. So we have had this aha moment across the board that folks have been able to look at money that can be organically good for the universe or for the planet as it is, in that you are having positive externalities within the money that you're using. It's not just being able to transact and do this, but what if your money can be able to actually have a positive effect on the environment organically? So there is this organic will that is coming through from communities and within also development partners on the ground. And it's something that is really taking on a life of its own, because prior to that, we see that folks looked at money as something that doesn't really have anything out of being used for trade and maybe storing some economic energy. But now you can do more with your money, and you can do more with your money organically if you look at it from a ReFi angle. So there's a lot of interest coming in from grassroots communities. And for the case of Uganda, there is a movement that is under the ReFi DAO. It's called ReFi Spring, and they are doing a lot of community outreach and awareness, along with having practical sessions whereby they kind of try to explain to people in rural Uganda, the folks in the villages up country, what it means to have positive externalities with money, and also how you can be able to have positive climate action while trying to do it with the blockchain tech. So we're seeing that these the add-ons to what we had before, because you either had someone who was doing climate awareness work or someone else was doing financial work, but they never had like any common intersection. But with ReFi, this is becoming one and the same. And we're trying to see how we can be able to energize this and be able to raise that level of awareness to go out there, because it's still a new concept, but it's one that we actually are prepared to be able to raise awareness and have folks have this in their general sense of awareness.
Excellent. So what do you think So what do you think the calls to action would be in your opinion in terms of making a difference with Celo, with the Celo Foundation, with the Celo blockchain, and with this whole ReFi movement?
Yeah, so initially I would just say, folks, I would just ask anyone to get curious about this, because as like I mentioned, ReFi is relatively new concept, and it's a concept among very many others, but it's something that is urgent because right now we're going through a climate crisis, and if you're not really paying attention, I think you really should. So if anybody can be able to do something that can help us reverse these adverse effects that are really affecting our weather and climate in general, I believe it's the time to pay attention to this. So folks should be able to educate themselves on the solutions out there, what the problem looks like, and how you can be able to turn this around and have a better financial system that also has positive externalities for the climate that we have today, because we have only one Earth. So my call to action would simply be, look at the work that Celo is doing. Celo.org is the website that you can be able to call up and see, and you can be able to be a part of this movement because it's an open infrastructure. No one has any barriers to entry. It's just about your will as an individual to kind of contribute to this climate movement that is going to really take us to the next billion users and also positively have an impact on the climate.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So Umar, where can people, or what's first off, thank you for taking the time to explain all the amazing things you're doing. But where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Twitter. My handle is at Umar_Sebyala. Yeah, and I'm also on LinkedIn. That is Umar Bukenya Sebyala.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
So so thank you for this once again, and to everyone else, until next time. Thanks.
Thank you.